Kabul. As the Taliban militants moved into Kabul on Sunday, President Ashraf Ghani flew out of the country without saying where he was going. According to media reports, Ghani had flown to Uzbekistan. The former president of Afghanistan left Afghanistan, leaving the country in this difficult situation, said Abdullah, the head of the Afghan National Reconciliation Council. God should hold him accountable. To avoid bloodshed, I thought it would be better to leave, Ghani said on Facebook in his first comments. The Taliban have won with the judgment of their swords and guns, and are now responsible for the honor, property and self-preservation of their countrymen, he said in a statement posted to Facebook. Expert on failed states, trained anthropologist, Ghani, 72, holds a doctorate from New York City's Columbia University and was named one of the world's top 100 global thinkers by Foreign Policy magazine in 2010. He spent almost a quarter of a century outside Afghanistan during the tumultuous decades of Soviet rule, civil war and the Taliban's years in power. During that period, he worked as an academic in the United States and later with the World Bank and the United Nations across East and South Asia. Ghani prided himself on being one of the foremost global experts on failed states, only to watch his administration collapse. He was elected in 2014 on promises to remake Afghanistan. But the 72-year-old may ultimately be remembered for making little headway against the deep-rooted government corruption that likely underwrote his demise. In his last years in office, Ghani watched as he was first cut off from talks between Washington and the Taliban that paved the way for the US exit from Afghanistan, and then forced by his American allies to release hardened insurgents to lock down a peace deal that never materialized. Dismissed as a puppet by the Taliban, Ghani was left with little leverage during his final months in the presidential palace, and resorted to delivering screeching televised diatribes that did little to improve his reputation with Afghans. He has variously been described as visionary, short-tempered, academic, and overly demanding. Renowned for his intensity and energy, Ghani introduced a new currency, set up a tax system, encouraged wealthy expat Afghans to return home, and cajoled donors as the country emerged from the austere Taliban era. But he also earned the divisive reputation that dogged him until the end. He never allowed anyone to get too close, remaining aloof, wrote veteran author Ahmed Rashid, who has known him for nearly 3 decades. Unfortunately, his explosions of bad temper and displays of arrogance with fellow Afghans and Westerners were all too frequent and soon made him a loathed figure. Ghani is married to Rula, whom he met while studying for his first degree at the American University in Lebanon, and has 2 children. He maintained a disciplined daily routine since losing part of his stomach to cancer, leaving him to nibble on snacks as he is unable to digest a full meal. A Pashtun, he started using his tribal name Ahmedzai a couple of years ago to underline his background, though he stresses the importance of unifying Afghanistan's disparate ethnic groups. After performing poorly in the 2009 election, Ghani shocked many Afghans in 2014 by winning after choosing as a running mate General Abdul Rashid Dostum, an Uzbek warlord accused of numerous human rights abuses. With inputs from agencies, Adblock Test Y.